Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/OhNoConsequences. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cross-posted from r/Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for not naming my son what I agreed to with his father? Sorry for the long post, and I'm using a throwaway to keep the drama out of my normal account. Nice things like cats, memes, and pop culture, etc. About a year ago, I found out I was pregnant with my now ex. We had been together for 2 years, already spoke about marriage and the future, so a baby was a happy surprise that would come earlier than expected. Early on, we talked about names. We agreed on a name if it's a girl, but when it came to boy names, my ex insisted we follow his family tradition. For the past few generations, every first male of the next generation was named Barrett, fake name for privacy. His great-grandfather was a Barrett. His grandfather was a Barrett. His uncle and his brother are Barretts. No offense to anyone reading this named Barrett, but it's not a name I would ever pick. But it was important to my partner at the time. A few months into my pregnancy, I started having some minor complications. Nothing major or worrying, looking back, but as a first-time mom, I was very anxious about anything not going right. Maybe that anxiety affected our relationship, I don't know. But there started to be some tension. At about 5 months, my ex demanded a DNA test. This was really hurtful and ridiculous. I'm an introvert and a homebody. When I wasn't at work, I was with my ex. There would be no opportunity to cheat. I told him I'll happily arrange for a DNA test once the baby's born, but he insisted on one in utero because he needed to know now before he invested any more into the baby. I told him I understand that's low risk, but there's already some complications, and I don't want to add in any additional risk, so I wanted to wait until after the birth. He took this as me stalling and trying to emotionally trap him after the baby is born. We broke up. He ghosted me. Every message, every ultrasound, every invitation to an appointment was left unread. I stopped after a while. I didn't inform him when I went into labor, and I didn't inform him when I gave birth. I was ready to do this alone, and I have a great village with my friends and family. I had a son. I named him what I wanted to name him. He has my last name. His mother reached out to me about 2 months ago asking to meet her grandson. The visit went well, and I always thought she was a lovely woman, and if she can have a good relationship with me and my son, I'd welcome it. She asked if she could visit regularly, once a month. She lives 2 hours away. And I said only under one condition. She takes a DNA test to show she's related and thus proves my ex is the father. To no one's surprise, she's his grandmother. She clearly told my ex about it, and he called me last week asking to meet his son. I agreed. The meeting was awkward as hell. He asked about getting back together, and I told him that will never happen. He then said that in order to be in my son's life, I needed to change his first and last name to his real name. I told him absolutely not. I reminded him that he abandoned his child. My son is my last name, not a ex's last name. And the only family traditions he'd ever be a party of are my last names. He called me a selfish bitch for ruining this tradition over a mental health crisis. I told him it's pretty convenient that his mental health crisis disappeared when he could no longer deny being the father, and my son's name will stay the same, and for him to not even try to make Barrett some kind of nickname. The night of his visit, his mother called and told me he's really upset and maybe I could think about changing my son's legal name. I told her that her son's happiness hasn't been my concern for over 6 months, and he lost the right to make my son part of his tradition when he abandoned him. I don't think I'm wrong, but my sister said I probably could have articulated my side differently and been less confrontational. My mom also said I likely made repairing the relationships more difficult with what I said. So, am I the asshole? Hey, real quick, what relationships are there to repair? Like, in what way does OP have to be the one to repair the relationships? She was the one who was abandoned, not him. And sure, OP could have articulated her point a little bit better, but at the same time, I don't know how, And, OP's ex could have also not abandoned her. That's an idea. Also, I love the entitlement of him being absent for all that time and then showing up and be like, yeah, if you want me back, you gotta change your son's name, and then I'll, be back in your life and we can get back together. It's like, she's already figured out this whole process and existing on her own. You're the one who has to mend that and actually put effort into being back in the child's life. Buddy, you are in no position to make demands right now. Cross-posted from r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for leaving for the weekend after my wife agreed to host Easter at her house without consulting me? My wife, 38 female, and I, 39 male, have been married for 12 years and have 3 kids, 11, 8, and 6. We live reasonably close to family on both our sides. Our house isn't huge by any means, but it's big enough for our family. However, no one else on my wife's side of the family lives in a house. Her siblings all either rent homes with roommates or live in apartments. Her parents downsized into a smaller townhome about 5 years ago. As a result, anytime her family wants to get together for a holiday or a special occasion, we are the ones who end up hosting. It's not even a discussion with her family anymore. Everyone just assumes that we're going to be the ones who host. We at least rotate major holidays between my family and hers, but my siblings and parents can also host gatherings, so hosting duties are spread out amongst all of us. But every Thanksgiving, Xmas, 4th of July, Easter, etc., that we spend with her family, we host. And her family are not the best guests. They will bring food if we ask, but anytime there is cleanup or other help, they're nowhere to be found. I have expressed my dislike of this arrangement to my wife numerous times. She has insisted that I not say anything to her family about it and to let her handle it. However, nothing has changed. We hosted Xmas for her family this year, and it sucked. People showed up late, forgot the food they were supposed to bring, no one helped with cleaning, people let their kids make messes, etc. Same old story as every other time. After that, I told my wife I was done. I told her I don't want to host her family until someone else on her family steps up and hosts something, or we book some other venue and I'll chip in to pay for it. She promised to talk to her family about it and figure something out for the next holiday. For Easter this year, we were supposed to just have it be our family, no extended family. But a couple weeks ago, my wife met up with her mom and sister for lunch. When she got home, she informed me that she talked to them about how hard hosting Xmas was. She said her mom and sister agreed that they would do better, and offered to prove it to us on Easter. And my wife agreed. We got into a huge fight over it. I told my wife that she's on her own for this one. I told her I would be spending the entirety of Easter weekend with my family, and I'll take any kids with me that want to come. But I am not going to be helping with any of the hosting duties whatsoever. She thinks I'm overreacting and that I need to give her family this final chance because her mom and sister seemed really sincere during their talk. I told her I don't care what they say. I'm not going to be involved at all because I won't be able to hold my tongue this time and I don't want it to come to that. She's not happy with me at all, but I don't really care. To top it off, all 3 of our kids want to come spend the weekend with me instead of staying home. Dude, that final sentence right there should be the wake-up call the mom needs. Like, holy hell. You had discussed with your wife about having a family-only Easter weekend. No extended family. She goes out to lunch with her sister and mother to talk to them about how difficult hosting has been, and comes home to inform you that you guys will be hosting for Easter. The plans you made as a family? Out the window. You telling your wife that you don't want to host again? Out the window. If her family actually wanted to prove to OP's wife and OP that they were willing to change and be better about it, one of them would have hosted or found some way to host. Despite their current living arrangements, they would have figured something out. But no. The wife relented, rolled out the red carpet, husband wasn't having it, decided to go have Easter with his family, all the kids decided to join the husband, and the wife now has to host solo as a consequence of her not standing up for her family. She said she would handle it, she did not. Posted by Manic Madness Antics. Aunt doesn't like reaping what she sows. So I, 28 non-binary, have an aunt who we'll call Sam. She's always been an absolute fuck who goes into meltdown mode at the drop of a hat if things aren't going her way, or if she's offended by the slightest thing. This almost 70-year-old woman will throw tantrums that rivaled my unmedicated/improperly medicated bipolar episodes as a child and teen. I have plenty of stories about why she's a piece of shit, but this subs for consequences, and she often doesn't get any. This, though, happened last Monday. Because Sam's health is so shit, she gets disability and one of those super cheap apartments for low-income people. For whatever reason, they drop the amount of disability due to a clerical error that can be fixed if she just called them. But this woman is epically lazy, and it's not because of the disability, I can assure you. But again, this is a completely different story on a sub about consequences. So just never did it. Because she doesn't want her sister to be homeless and starving, my mother began funneling so much time and money into Sam. My parents are trying to save to retire, but they're basically funding Sam's whole life. Help with rent, gas for her car, power bill, food, cigarettes, basically everything. And every month, Sam's disability has been gone, sooner and sooner in the month. I could tell she was starting to take advantage of the help she knew my parents would give her, and I did mention it to my mom, but it was only a passing comment, not a discussion. Well, last Monday, Sam came to my mom's house with her tin can out, ready to beg more money off her sister. She needed cat food. She can't afford any. Could mom please help? My mother has mobility issues right now. Something is very wrong with her foot, and she can barely walk around her house, never mind a store. So she can't go with Sam to the store. She also didn't have any cash on hand. So she gave my leech of an aunt her debit card. The noise I made at this point in my mother's explanation is something I will never be able to describe or replicate. So she told Sam to go to dollar store, get food for your cat, a couple things for you to eat over the next few days, and 1 pack of cigarettes. This would have come out to about $20 to $25. Sam, being Sam, she did not do that. She went to local chain grocery, where everything is insanely overpriced, spent $55 and took an extra $20 in cash back. When she got back to my mom's house and explained this, claiming she wasn't sure if the dollar store would have everything she needed. Mom was pissed. Then she found out about the $20 that Sam had taken out without permission for gas, and she went from pissed to apoplectic. Sam has spent the whole week begging Mom for the favors she usually does, and claiming her feelings are hurt because Mom won't talk to her. Mom just keeps responding that she's still mad, and Sam needs to leave her alone for a while to cool down. So Sam's not getting any money, any errands run, or any attention, and she hates it. She's throwing an epic fit, but she bit the hand that was feeding her and drew blood. Edit, I see all the people in the comments worried about Kitty. I promise she's fine. Sam adores her and has raised her up from a stray kitten her apartment complex found, a group of babies but no mama to be found, to a lovely middle-aged cat. When, not if, my parents are going to make sure she gets to a care home because the situation is untenable, Sam gets moved into a care home, Kitty is going to be moved into my parents' house. If for some reason they can't take her, I'm the backup. Kitty is and will be fine. Update. 1 year later. So you may or may not remember my post regarding my aunt, who for the purposes of this we will call Sam. Post's linked to the previous post. Here's the initial post, but the too long didn't read is that I, 29 non-binary, was told by my mother about my bitch of an aunt stealing about $50 from my mother. I will address a couple points real quick for clarification. Anyone who was worried about my mother's leg issue, there were a few people in the comments, she had a clot or something that was cutting off blood flow to her foot and part of her calf. They managed to get rid of it before it ruined her leg badly enough to require amputation, and she's fine now. Currently packing for my parents' move across the country when my stepdad retires in November, actually. Sam's cat is safe. She ended up being taken by the neighbor Sam got her from as a kitten. Now, on to the important bit. After Sam blatantly taking advantage of the fact that my mother had something wrong with her leg and couldn't walk around her own house, let alone accompany her to the store, Mom took a huge step back. No more rides, Sam's an adult. No more money, Sam's an adult. The only thing that Sam really got from anyone was the occasional box of food, mostly food from the food bank that my fiancé and I were not planning on eating. No more going above and beyond for a woman who refuses to get herself help and screams constant insults. I'd say it might be dementia, except she's been this crazy my whole life. Despite this, Sam started getting more and more demanding, using her increasingly poor health and mobility to try to bludgeon my mother into helping her, to the point where, one of the examples my mom gave me, she couldn't get up from the toilet without help, so she called my mom, demanding that she drive 45 minutes to Sam's house to help Sam off the toilet, only for a neighbor to have already done it by the time Mom got there. Sam ended up in the hospital. I think someone called an ambulance for her. I'm not sure, as Mom just said she went to the hospital. And I'm so proud of my mother. Sam called her and demanded she get some of her things from Sam's apartment for her hospital stay. Mom said, okay, left the stuff at reception. Then she drove home. She told me that in the moment Sam called her, she knew this would be the last favor she did for Sam. The last time they would have contact. She didn't even bother bringing Sam's shit directly to Sam. Sam has lung cancer and will be going into hospice. And that is all we know and all I care to know. This all actually isn't new news. My mom cut her off months ago. Sam could very well be dead by now, and I wouldn't know it. If there's a funeral, I ain't going. I hate this woman. She has made my life hell for 2.5 decades, and I severed any emotional attachment to her years and years ago. Since I finally, don't have to keep any kind of cordial relationship with Sam to keep my mother out of the crossfire, I'm free. I never have to speak to that woman again. I routed all her calls to voicemail and muted her text notifications. I'm never going to speak to her again. Mom and stepdad are never going to speak to her again. Hell, even her brother, who's a scumbag in a completely different way, is never going to speak to her again. Her terrible behavior, hysterical tantrums, threats of harm, entitled attitude, and just generally being awful has led to the consequences of her inevitably dying alone from a terrible disease with no sympathy from me. Too long didn't read, the consequences stuck, and Sam's gonna die alone in hospice from lung cancer. It definitely sounds like there's just a lot more to this that led to this kind of just complete abandonment of family towards Sam, but it sounds like that it was deserved. And honestly, that may have probably been the most expensive $75 that Sam has ever dealt with. Like, Sam completely shattered the family's trust in her by overspending by $50 and just by completely showing that she's not trustworthy. And when she's in her time of need, she's going to take advantage of whoever she possibly can. Like, the consequences in this one are dark. You're gonna die alone from a disease. And because of your actions and how you lived your life, your family will not grieve you. Hell, some might even celebrate. Honestly, one of the best life advices I think I've heard is live a life to the point where people mourn your death and don't celebrate it. Cross-posted from r/bestof by DirectCaterpillar77. Their tagline is, of course, Satan is not a pogo stick. The regional OP is don't wanna meet him. Posted July 14th, 2017 to r/relationships. I, 37 male, with my ex, 32 female, together 5, broken up 10. I don't want to meet her boyfriend, but I want us to remain friends. She's gotten my fiancé, 33 female, of 7 years, upset at me too. My ex-girlfriend Kelly and I broke up extremely amicably. She admitted she didn't feel any romantic attraction to me anymore. Wanted to focus on school, but I was her best friend. I felt the same exact way. We were best friends even after. She even introduced me to her best friend, Amanda, who I have been with ever since we met. We did everything together. Kelly had never really been interested in guys because of her schoolwork, but she graduated, got a job, made great career advancements, and now she's looking to settle down and get a boyfriend. They've been together about 6 months and are discussing marriage. She invited us to Friday night game night this week. We all get together and she told Amanda he would be there and he'd probably be moving in when his lease ends, which makes me not want to go over anymore. So I told Kelly I don't want to go if he is, and she got extremely hurt. Told me that it wasn't fair because she thought we were friends, and hasn't spoken to me but has also asked Amanda to refrain from texting her until she's ready because she needs some space to process and she's under stress at work. Game night is still going. Kelly invited the rest of our group as normal. Amanda is barely speaking to me and called me a hypocrite and will go without me if she's asked. Kelly chose to be my friend, and she was already Amanda's. I don't see why I have to choose to be friends with someone else just to be friends with Kelly. My fiancé said that he's been around 6 months, and they are talking of marriage, and if I wanted to stay her friend, it means sometimes interacting. Kelly doesn't do anything lightly, so this is very serious. But I don't really care to meet him. But Kelly is still one of my closest friends. She'd be there at 3 a.m. if there was an emergency. Too long didn't read. My friend/ex has a new man. I don't want to meet him. Now she's shutting me and her best friend, my fiancé, out. Is there any way to salvage this? Do I actually have to meet him? Relevant comments. Stop hitting thyself. Wow, dude. You've been with your fiancé 7 years, but you're still not over your ex? That's extremely insulting to fiancé, and I'm surprised she's not more angry. I'm guessing the only reason the friendship has lasted this long is because Kelly was single. It's a shame the ex didn't get a boyfriend sooner, so your girlfriend could have seen that your intentions towards Kelly aren't as platonic as they should be. As for advice, stop thinking you're entitled to Kelly in any way. Get over her, and your own selfish desires. Lofi responds, I am over Kelly. I just don't really care about him from what I've heard of him. Another user comments, she's gotten my fiancé of 7 years upset at me too, end quote. No. You have upset your fiancé of 7 years because apparently you don't understand that by not wanting to meet your friend Kelly's fiancé, you're basically declaring that you still have feelings for Kelly. Quote, but I don't really care to meet him, but Kelly is still one of my closest friends. She'd be there at 3 a.m. if there was an emergency, end quote. Sounds to me like you want Kelly all to yourself, a backup, so to speak, for when Amanda can't scratch whatever itch you have. You broke up with Kelly. You don't get a say in her life anymore. Nobody is asking you to be super besties with this guy, but at the very least, act cordial. If I were you, I would apologize to your fiancé and seriously examine why you feel like you can't accept Kelly having a serious boyfriend. OP responds, there were no feelings left. I just don't want some asshole interfering in the cool stuff we all do together. Deleted user comments. I agree with the others that it feels weird you won't even meet Kelly's boyfriend. I agree with you that you shouldn't have to be friends with someone else to be friends with her, but you literally won't even go over to her house if her boyfriend is there. Meeting the dude doesn't mean you have to be BFFs. Do you still have feelings for Kelly or something? Did you ever have a chance to actually get over her? It sounds like y'all went right from dating to being BFFs, which didn't allow for any time alone to work through feelings. OP responds, there were no feelings left. I still don't have any. I just don't want some dickbag mucking up our social time. Update, September 11th, 2017. 2 months later. And, 8 years ago. I got rightfully torn apart in my last thread. I was being stupid about it, and it actually cost me everything. I kept refusing to meet him for another week or so. Amanda and Kelly didn't buy that I had no more feelings for Kelly. Amanda then felt like she was a placeholder for when Kelly was single. Amanda and I got into a huge argument about it, and I told her that if Kelly meant more to her than I do, she was free to go over to Kelly's anytime. We went to separate rooms and went to sleep. She was gone when I woke up for work, so I left her a note apologizing and wanting to talk when I came home. I returned home from work to find that Amanda had moved out and in with Kelly, who had just finished closing on a new place. After some deep introspection, I realized I liked the attention both girls lavished on me, and I enjoyed being the center of attention. The new boyfriend would have taken that away. None of it matters now. Amanda talked to me once after she left, and that was pretty much to tell me that she's happier without me. Kelly gave her a good rental price on the mother-in-law suite that came attached with the house. She has no desire to come back. I've been cut from the gaming groups we were in, minus 1 or 2 people. I know they still go and host it because they had a big housewarming game night, and my friends were tagged in it. I feel lost. Too long didn't read. I was a selfish jerk, and now I've lost my best friend and fiancé. So for some quick math for you all, they were together for 5 years and broken up 10 for his relationship with Kelly. He's 37, she's 32. 10 years ago would have been 27, 22. 5 years ago would have been 22, 17. Now, of course, there could be some wiggle room there with just some, like, year discrepancies where, maybe she was born, like, May 3rd and he was born, December 17th. So there's some wiggle room there where, like, she would be 18 and he would be 22. So I wanted to do that math just for myself and also for you guys because it definitely bothered me a little bit first reading it, and then putting that together is just definitely kind of, it's there. Also, he's 37! And refuses to meet someone's boyfriend because he's some asshole interfering with the cruel stuff. Doesn't want some dickbag mucking up our social time, which turned out he was just reveling in the attention that he was getting from two women, which, like, he admits in the final part. But imagine just having no capability for introspection to the point where you're throwing away two relationships because you can't admit that you're not over one. Like, this dude's life would have gone an entirely different direction over the last 8 years if he had just been like, yeah, cool, no, I'll meet him. And, like, the thing is if he was, like, a dickbag or an asshole, OP would have stated how. But he didn't. Like, I went through OP's comments, or at least what I could find of them, and couldn't find any reasoning or explanation as to how he was a dickbag or an asshole. And when people asked him, he never elaborated. I do find it also just kind of crazy that even after Reddit spelled the fact that, hey, what you're doing right now gives everyone the impression that you're not over Kelly. And he just responded, nuh-uh. And then 2 months later, not heeding the advice from Reddit, post the update that his fiance moved out, got a new place, and now he's alone. And out of the old friend group, only 1 or 2 of them still talk with him, but they still go and hang out with Kelly and Amanda. Like, you did this to yourself, dude. I hope over the last 8 years you've been able to grow as a person. Cross-posted from r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for throwing my ex's words in his affair partner's wife's face after she spent the last 5 years taunting me? What a fucking mouthful. I, 33 female, found out my ex-husband, 35 male, and the father of my 2 kids, 11 and 9, was cheating on me with Dana, 30 female, who he worked with. Once I kicked my ex out, he did everything to try and win me back. He even shared the fact that Dana was sterile and was just some safe fun because he knew he couldn't get her pregnant. He said he would never actually want something, not someone, like that, and he loved me and our kids. I was having none of it. I didn't pity Dana either because she knew about me. We had met. She knew about the kids too. So to me, she was a homewrecker, and I wasn't going to warn her about my ex's feelings on her. My ex continued trying to win me back throughout our divorce. The night before he sent more texts begging me to call it all off and let us be a family again, he said more degrading things about Dana. But I didn't listen to him. I was done. Even if he wasn't living with Dana, which he was, I wasn't going to buy he changed. For the day my ex moved in with Dana, she was smug. She called me all dried up, said my pussy clearly wasn't tight enough anymore for my ex and that he clearly felt repulsed by whatever stretch marks the kids left behind. I ignored her. She got herself kicked out of the kids' school a few times for using that language in front of others. Twice was in front of one of the teachers during PT conferences. For years, I have ignored it and tried to be the bigger person, but recently she was extra nasty about me and the fact that I've been single since the divorce. She tried to say it was clear no man wanted me, not even the father of my children, and how he thought so little of me. She said he only says nothing because of the kids, but she knows. She knows that's why he went to her. So in response, I screenshotted several of the texts X sent me where he degraded her, and I told her she should see what he thinks of her. She told me I was sick and twisted, and how dare I dig into her infertility. Then it was, why would I not tell her, if any of this were true? I told her I owed her ass nothing after she knowingly slept with the man I was married to and contributed to the breakup of my children's family. I told her I found her as disgusting and repulsive as him, but I had done my best to ignore her all these years while she degraded me. Then I told her to look inside her house for all that nasty shit and reminded her to check the dates on the messages. She texted me several times in the aftermath. I muted her. Can't block her while they're together because she could be with my kids in an emergency, and the court order states we must keep this access open. So now the plan is to unmute whenever the kids are over there and mute the second they come home to me. But am I the asshole? See, I thought because the title, because it was throwing my ex's words in his affair partner wife's face, I thought this was going to be a situation where, like, for some reason, the wife of the affair partner sided with the affair and was now going after OP. I thought it was going to be somehow messier than what we had before us. I also just love the idea of Dana just spending, like, several years pretty much just insulting and berating OP, like, oh yeah, how does it feel knowing that you're pretty much worthless and just a bunch of shit like that? And then eventually OP's like, you know what, fuck it. You want to see what my ex actually thinks about you? Here it is. And instead of an apology, it's, oh, you're sick and twisted. And how dare you say these things about me? And how come you hid this from me if it was true? She chose to be a homewrecker, knowingly. She also decided to then insult OP left and right over her success as a homewrecker, and is now shocked to find out that the person she homewrecked for actually never liked her, and saw her as nothing more than some safe fun that now he's stuck with, because his ex never took him back. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code OZ at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code OZ directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code OZ at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.